Okay, we had a little glitch.
We're back.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Principal's Playhouse. We're so happy to have you here. We had a little Wi-Fi problem.
Can you hear us now?
It's a good thing we're doctors.
Yes, we'll fix it.
Hi, Ella.
Thanks
Hi,
for
Matt.
coming back. Hi, Matt.
Thanks for sticking in there with us. It's going to be worth it. We promise. Hi, Debbie. Spencer.
Doing my T-Rex dance again.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Mark. Thanks for coming
Thanks for coming back on, Mark.
Debbie. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Cheryl again. Thank you for sticking with us. Mackenzie, technical glitches happen even to doctors. Are you ready?
I am ready.
What time is it? I think. Hi, Jody. Hi, Jason. Aw, Ella, you're so sweet.
Greb, how you doing, buddy? Good luck tonight on Memsma Chat.
That case of loving you. All right.
You ready, partner?
Let's do it.
All right. All right.
Hi, Jamie.
All right, we're official now.
Oh, welcome back to the second episode of the Principal's Playhouse. I'm Allison Apsey, and I get to be the principal of the wonderful Quincy Elementary in Zeeland, Michigan. Last time, we forgot to point out where we live according to the hand, because everybody in Michigan explains where they live according to the hand.
We talked to the hand.
Yes. This is just the lower peninsula of Michigan. There is an upper peninsula, but my hands doesn't stretch up there. So this is like Detroit. This is Lake Michigan. Zeeland is actually halfway between Grand Rapids and Lake Michigan. So Zeeland's about right there.
And I'm John Wenstrom. I am the proud principal of Buchanan Elementary for Livonia Public Schools, and that is in southeast Michigan, about halfway between Detroit and Ann Arbor. So we're right about here.
And we're joined together in Lansing, the capital of Michigan, right? Like right in the middle?
Right there.
Yes.
Boom.
There we go. So this is, the first show was an absolute blast, and it was so exciting to see educators from across the country join us. And on live, and then also watching the episode afterward. We had a lot of views and a lot of comments, great feedback, and it was
wonderful.
It was so exciting. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Larissa. Hi, Julie. So we even got our first fan mail. Can you believe it? We want to show you.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you.
Our friend, Dr. Tim McDermott, sent a little note that said he thought the Principal's Playhouse was awesome. And I just wanted to let everybody know that we do accept fan mail. You can send it to Quincy Elementary in Zeeland, Michigan, or Buchanan Elementary in Livonia. We accept we'll accept compliments, suggestions for future episodes, or questions that you have for us about, how can you start up your own Facebook Live show. But we don't accept criticisms.
Right, yeah.
Or complaints.
Yeah.
No.
Send the positive feedback, the negatives, keep to yourself.
You just
Is that
keep
what
it
is?
to yourself, yes.
Kidding. Yeah.
That's the plan.
Thanks again, Tim.
So as a reminder, I'm a boy mom. I have two sons and an 11-year-old named Tyson and a 15-year-old, sorry, Lane, 15-year-old named Lane, and then a husband, Jim.
I do not have a husband named Jim, but I do have a wife named Stacy and two daughters named Marina and Mira. So, hi, girls. Hi, everyone.
Yes. So,
all right.
you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So October is a very busy month. Lots going on in schools right now. So Allison, catch us up. What's going on with you and your school?
So we are really getting into the groove. Actually, we just spent this past week meeting in benchmark meetings, which are like our data dives where we're looking at, how are our students doing with all the information that we've gathered about them throughout the course of the first few weeks of school, and then planning for interventions for all of them, like students who are high achievers and then students who need additional support. So we just did that, and I have to mention that I really loved your last blog post. It was Star Trek, right? Again?
Yeah.
But the thing I loved about it, besides the Star Trek references that I don't understand at all, is that you mentioned that we need to look at that academic data. That's really important information to use. But then to also take a look at our students' social and emotional needs, and our students as whole people and how to support them. We cannot neglect that that has to be like a marriage.
I appreciate that. And actually, that post was inspired by a friend of mine, colleague Bill Green, who said that. He said, we really need to focus on the whole child and bring everything together. So, words of wisdom. So that is a lot going on, Allison, but I also know that there's a big development that I think you need to share with our audience that's going on with you right now.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, Jeff.
Come on.
Okay.
Spill the beans.
Okay,
Spill
so
the
I'm
beans.
so excited to share with the Principal's Playhouse audience that I'm writing a book. Actually, the book is about 85% written, and Dave and Shelley Burgess are going to publish the book. And if you're not familiar with Dave and Shelley, they're a dynamic duo, husband and wife team, and they have a publishing company. And it actually started, they self-published Dave's book that's called Teach Like a Pirate, which is amazing. If you haven't read that, you need to read it.
The book.
Check it out. So inspiring. And you could dress up like doctors every day after you read Teach Like a Pirate, or like a pirate.
Yep.
And then, so they're going to publish the book. It's got a working title of The Path to Serendipity. All of you who know me know that's my word. And it's about a journey to just discover all of the blessings and the fortunes and the lessons that every experience we go through has to offer us. So
Do we have a release date?
we're thinking the spring. Like, it could be out as early as this spring, and that's just so hard to believe. It's so exciting.
My only request
Surreal.
is I get the first signed copy.
I'll think about it.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Just, consider it. All right. All right.
What's going on with you? Tell us.
Well, like most schools right now, this month we had our parent-teacher conferences, and we're starting to build those relationships with our families, connecting between the home and school. It's also the time that we're starting to develop our relationships with students, hearing their stories, finding out what their needs are. And also during that process, a lot of times we find out trauma that students may have had in the past or are experiencing right now.
Right, yes. And we thought that this would be perfect timing for this episode, so that we can really talk about how to support students and staff who have experienced trauma in the past or who are currently going through trauma. And just as a reminder, we shared this on our promo, but we like to have fun at the Principal's Playhouse, and this is a really serious topic.
Yeah, it is.
So we are definitely not trying to take this topic lightly, but students and staff who have experienced trauma need a fun and positive environment.
Maybe even more so.
Yes,
Yeah.
in a playful environment. So we're encouraging just, to be playful, to have fun, and that is a support to students and staff who have experienced trauma. And in fact, we chose our costumes with intention, right,
Yep,
Mike?
yes, we did.
So this, I have trouble pronouncing the name of this. I'm going to try really hard to do it right
I'm
the
going to
first
see if you
time.
do it the first time.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is a stethoscope.
You got it.
Yes.
Hey.
And so this is a reminder to really listen to the hearts of our students and staff to understand who they are as whole people.
Our mirrors remind us to reflect on our practices, reflect on our decisions, and go back and look, how did we handle a situation, and maybe go back and handle it differently the next time. So
Sure.
reflection is very important.
And then our lab coats remind us that doctors are professionals and teachers are professionals too, and we wear these as just a reminder of not taking things personally.
Absolutely.
It's not about us, it's about the staff member or the student right in front of us. So it's really important. You're going to hear that message repeated tonight, to not take things personally. So, John, can you share with us a story about a student you've supported who has experienced trauma?
Yeah, actually, several years ago, I had a student at school who had experienced a lot of trauma in his life, really struggled in the school setting. He had started life in a Romanian orphanage, and when he came to my school, he was having extreme behavior issues, and one of the many times when he left his classroom, he's made his way to my office, and he came in, and he noticed my Superman poster on the wall, and his response was to start shouting out how much he hated Superman and how stupid he was, and asked why I would like somebody, a character that stupid. And I realized, obviously, his anger was taking form in lashing out at everyone and everything around him. That was his defense mechanism. He kept a barrier up. So I mentioned to the student, I said, one of the things that I like about Superman is that he's adopted, and I'm adopted, and it makes me feel a little bit special that we have that in common. And that child's face instantly changed from anger to surprise. He was shocked to hear that, like him, I also was adopted. And I'd love to tell you that we fixed all of his problems right there and had a wonderful school experience. But what did happen there is through that one connection, we started a relationship, which we were able to build on from there. And then we could start meeting some of his academic needs after his emotional needs were met. He needed to feel safe. He needed to know that he wasn't alone. So sometimes with dealing with students, it's just finding that one connection, that one thing you have in common where the relationship can start and then grow from there.
What a powerful story. Thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable with us. And it is a good reminder that it doesn't take a ton. Just one connection can make all the difference.
So how about you, Allison? Any stories to share about how you supported a student or a staff member dealing with trauma?
As we were thinking about this episode and what we were going to share, I kept thinking of this one particular student when I was a young teacher. And he was a guy who came up to me the first time I met him and said, "I hate school." And I struggled really to get him to complete any work. Felt like we weren't making academic progress. He would get really angry with me and his classmates. And it was a difficult situation. I didn't know Dad very well, but I did know that Mom had some significant issues, and that certainly did not help her son. But I have to tell you, I failed him. Like, we never made that connection. And he's a guy I think about often because I got too focused on his behavior and trying to fix the behaviors and really forgot to back it up and really look at the root of the behaviors and what was going on. I tried to have him fit the functions of the classroom rather than changing the functions of the classroom in order to help meet his needs. And that was a huge mistake. And honestly, if we talked to him, I don't think he would be like, "Oh, Mrs. Apsey, she was horrible." I really don't. I think
he'd say that either.
He might remember me fondly. What I feel guilty about is I lost this opportunity to change the trajectory of his school experience and possibly his life. So I think about that often and reflect.
Well, I think we all have stories and memories that we could share of times that, reflecting on it, we probably would have done something differently. I know I have dozens. And we also need to remember that when we're dealing with students who have trauma or have faced trauma, that anger can come out in so many different ways. And we need to remember that even though we're personally invested in each student, we need to remember not to take things personally.
It's so true.
And it's hard when we care so much.
It's so hard to do. But when we mix our feelings in with what's going on in the situation, it kind of becomes insurmountable. But if we can leave our feelings off to the side and really focus on the person in front of us, it's much more fixable. I don't know if that's like a word, but and we need to remember that students and staff who've experienced trauma might need some more time in order to develop trusting relationships. And
time is essential, absolutely.
So as I was talking about this episode with teachers at Quincy, I was talking to one particular teacher who's just really has this huge heart for students who have experienced trauma. And I said to her name is Lauren Herbert, and she teaches first grade at Quincy. And I said to Lauren, if we could share one thing with the audience that you think would make a difference for students who have been affected by trauma and supporting them in the classroom. We call it like becoming a trauma-informed classroom or school in our work with Dr. Stephanie Grant. She said something really powerful, and it was actually only 2 words. She said, "Believe them." So when they say they're scared, when they say they're anxious or they're upset, not to like poo-poo it or wonder if it's the truth. She said, to believe them and to support them through that, because there's a reason that they're telling you that, and they need something from us.
Such a powerful thing and easy to remember.
Yes.
Believe them.
Believe them. And even further, thinking about as a leader, staff members, when they tell me they're frustrated or they're anxious or they're angry or they're nervous, we need to believe them and not dismiss those feelings. There's a reason why they're feeling that way. And we need to meet them where they are and support them through it.
It just reminds me of actually words I heard today from Debbie McFalone. I know who's out there. Instead of saying yes, but, we need to say yes, and.
Yes.
And I think that's really important of working with people with trauma, of saying, we get that, and.
Right.
How can
Or
we help?
no but, right?
Yeah, no but. Yeah. When I say yes but, yeah.
Yeah,
yes and.
Okay. So as we stated before, students and staff who have experienced trauma need to have a fun and playful environment. That's really important for them.
Absolutely.
So is it time for a bad dancing break?
I need to get my 80s music fix. It's time for a little bad medicine.
When we say bad, we mean bad in like the Michael Jackson terms, like bad to the bone dancing. Is that right?
I'm actually thinking of bad as in like bad dancing. So,
yeah, when
with
you
my
start
Bon Jovi fans out there.
when you start using your fingers, like that's not good dancing.
This is not
no, stop.
my.
Karen, we know you're dancing with us.
I'm bringing bad dancing back. Bring it in.
We got
in
some
style.
likes for the dancing. Maybe they want your fingers back.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait a minute. Is this appropriate? Bad medicine?
I don't know.
I think we're prescribing good medicine, right?
All right. Good. We are.
Jonathan!
John,
Gribs. Woo! You're ready for some dancing.
don't be jealous, Grib, of my dance moves. All right. Are we ready?
Oh, wait. Julie's requesting that we sing.
What you get for falling in love? You get a little and
It's never enough. That's what you get for falling in love.
All right, one time through.
Your love is like good medicine.
Good medicine.
Good medicine is what I need. Whoa.
All right. Bringing it back down now. It's
Oh,
time. It's
man,
time
that
for
was awesome.
audience questions. Are we ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's
Okay.
dive into it.
Okay.
All right. First question is for Allison.
Oh,
all right.
okay. I'm ready.
All right, Allison. How do we look beyond negative behaviors to see what is really going on with students?
That's an excellent question.
It is.
So I have been fortunate enough to attend a couple of sessions on becoming a trauma-informed school with Dr. Stephanie Grant, who's actually from Holland, which is really near Zealand, but she's amazing. And she showed this slide at one of the sessions that I went to, and you can't see it very well, but what I'm going to do later on after the show is I'm going to post this in the comments. It might be actually even backwards, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, what's really there? So what we see might be defiance, but what's really there might be mistrust. What we see is a need to control. What is really there is a need to rely on themselves. We might see manipulation, but what's there is a way for them to meet their needs. We might see anxiety, but what's really there is fear and terror. We might see impulsivity. What's really there is poor executive functioning. Or inattentiveness might mean a focus on threatening details. We might see aggression, and what's really there is a need to survive, ready
Absolutely.
to survive. So we'll share that out with you.
Great advice.
That is great advice. And we just never go wrong when we focus on relationship building. And kids who have experienced trauma often have developed a pattern of negative behaviors, and it takes like just a tremendous amount of patience in order to hang in there with them and develop a relationship.
And time, as you said
Yes.
before, and time.
So Dr. Grant said, and this stuck with me, she said that no work can be done until a strong foundational relationship is there. Yeah.
Agreed, 100%.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And this question is from Bethany Hill. She's an elementary principal.
Thank you, Bethany.
Yeah, she's from down south. So can I ask this question with a southern accent?
Do it. Let's go over. I like your southern
She
accent.
would say it so much better. I'm going to try to do a good one. I always go in and out of my southern accent. So how do we help teachers decipher between misbehavior and behavior stemming from trauma? All right, I'll say it without a southern accent because it's a really serious question.
Bethany really does not sound like that.
No, probably
Yeah.
not. Okay, how do we help teachers decipher between misbehavior and behavior stemming from trauma?
Well, the truth is, a lot of times we don't know. we don't know what the root cause of that behavior is. It could be trauma. It might not be. And so that's why I feel like we need to deal with all behavioral issues in the same way, with consistency, with patience. One of my friends and social worker, Denise Collins Robinson, she often talks about the difference between punishment and discipline. And it's such an important distinguishment because punishment, its root, it's focused on inflicting pain. Discipline, actually its root is discipleship, teaching and learning. And that's really what we want to do with students. We want to teach them, use those moments to teach, correct behavior, and improve it. So I feel like we're not sure what the roots of behaviors are, so we treat them all in the same consistent, fair, and patient manner.
Yeah, yeah.
We can still be consistent with that still, but...
I really appreciate that distinguishment between punishment and discipline, between trying to inflict pain and trying to teach.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so important.
All right, question 3 is from Tony Sinanis. He is superintendent extraordinaire from New York. And Tony asks, does trauma always have to be an extreme event or a physical event?
So trauma is defined as a deeply distressing or disturbing event. And trauma can be from a variety of environmental factors. It could be from something that's seemingly innocuous occurring over and over and over again. So no, it doesn't really have to be something that we would think of as like immediately life-altering event. It could be from a variety of things. And again, we need to keep in mind a few things. We never go wrong when we err on the side of supporting all of our students as if they've experienced trauma, because what's good for students who have experienced trauma, like relationship building and creating a safe environment, those things are good for everybody. And then trauma, keep this in mind, and Dr. Grant said this too, trauma doesn't have to be traumatizing. So as adults, we can, a caring and trusted adult can serve as a buffer for that child through that trauma to prevent it from becoming traumatizing.
Okay.
And then one last point is, it's kind of a scary one, but we heard from Dr. Grant that counselors are often treating children who've experienced trauma, not for the trauma in their past, but they're treating students, they're counseling students through new trauma that they've experienced at home or at school. And at the hands of teachers sometimes. And none of us go into education to traumatize children. No, heavens no. But one of the things that I think is really important as we're supporting children who have some behavioral issues is thinking about a lens of understanding rather than a lens of judging.
Yep. I think it's super important for us working with students and also staff members.
Sure. So. Absolutely. So, what's up next?
All right. I don't know how these questions get in here, but another one slipped in. John and Allison.
Oh, no, I'm scared.
If you had to be seen by a fictional doctor, who would you choose?
A fictional doctor.
I'd like to know who sends in these questions. Yeah.
Do you have that? Can you bring that up a minute?
Let's see.
I wonder if anybody recognizes this. All right, can you answer? Anybody know the doctor I'm thinking of? All right, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to see. Anybody? Come on. Anybody got it? Okay, so if I had to choose to be seen by a fictional doctor, it would be McDreamy, Dr. Derek Shepard.
Is that the guy who played in Can't Buy Me Love? Is that guy?
It absolutely is, yes. So do I need to explain further, or is my blushing explaining it enough? Okay, how about you? If you were going to be seen by a fictional doctor, who would it be?
All right, I'm going to put my nerd hat on here and say I'd love to meet Dr. McCoy from Star Trek. And I'd love to just hear him say, "He's dead, Jim." And hopefully he wouldn't be talking about me. But...
Or my husband, right?
Or
your
husband, yeah.
No. John, do you ever take your nerd hat off?
Not really, no.
I've never seen him without
Where's all
it.
my Trekkies out there?
Just like I never take my dork hat off. It's always right there, right, Quincy staff and my family.
All right.
So I think I'm thinking that we need to bring in a special guest. A special guest.
Paging Dr. Donnie.
For our next question. I know.
Such a stressful
It's
job.
we pulled Dr. Donnie right off
my
the
goodness.
Welcome, Dr. Donnie St.
Emergency room.
Amor.
Okay, let's pull her in
sweating.
here.
I'm sweating
Okay.
from.
Oh,
You
yes.
See, Dr. Donnie?
Okay,
It's
so
very traumatic.
Is Dr. Donnie
Very traumatic.
really a
It's very
doctor?
traumatic.
She's not really, but she plays one on TV just like us. So
Oh, okay.
We're all the same around here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You
It's
bet.
just an honor and a pleasure.
You
How can I
bet.
help you?
All right. Well, Donnie, actually, I do have it actually is a serious question. A friend of Allison and I, a colleague, his friend, or our friend, his wife has cancer. And he shared with us recently of talking about how difficult it is to keep sharing the story over and over again, because with his colleagues and peers, as people ask about, how are things going. And so our question is, how can we best support fellow staff members or colleagues that are going through trauma?
That's a good question.
This is really common. This is very, very common, especially when someone's dealing with an illness in their family. And really, the relationships that you have with these people is your best place to start. And the first thing that you can do is to think proactive and concrete. Think proactive and concrete with your ideas. And what that really means is to not say something like, "Can I do something for you?" but to say, "I'm making dinner for you and your family Tuesday."
To be specific about what we're going to be doing to
Exactly.
help.
Does that
Okay.
work?
Well,
I'm bringing this particular meal over, or here is a gift card for gas.
okay.
Give it to them.
Okay.
So be specific and concrete. When they're in these traumatic situations, they aren't going to give you ideas. They're not going to come up with something. They're going to appreciate an offer, and they're going to let you know they appreciate it. But if you can be concrete and proactive, it's going to go a lot further.
So don't say, "How can I help you?"
No.
Okay.
They'll get that every day of the week. So you are going to show your care and your relationship much more if you are specific.
Okay. That's good advice.
A second thing that you can do, especially because you are the leader in this situation, is that you can help to navigate. And what I mean by that is, oftentimes, as the illness goes on, this person that you really care about may need to take some type of leave from work. And they're stressed and nervous about that. So because you know the policies and the practices of the district, you can help this person you care about to find out who should they talk to. How can they make this decision? How is it going to impact their return? How long do they have? What are the policies associated? So help them navigate and make the right decision.
Okay.
You're the best person to do that.
Perfect.
Okay.
So everything we can take care of it for them, we do that through the work too. Okay.
Absolutely. Make sure that you've already answered all the questions they might have. Help them to decide who do they talk to and how can they make the best decision for themselves and their family. And then lastly, just hang in there. When their person is first diagnosed, the troops all rally. Everyone's making plans. Everyone's doing this and that. But as time goes on, people don't mean to stop doing these things, but they just do. It's not because they don't care anymore. It's just that they're back into their own lives, and it's not so fresh. But it's still happening. This person you care about is still, day to day, the caregiver, day to day, taking care of everything that family needs. So if you can just hang in there, put a message in your phone, something in your calendar, have your secretary remind you to just still be there
It's great advice.
with that relationship.
Thank you. Okay, so be concrete,
Yes.
help them navigate, and hang in there.
Absolutely.
I love those
All right.
tips. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Aren't you so
Donnie.
glad we brought
Appreciate
Donnie in? Dr. Donnie.
Thank you for
Dr.
having
Donnie.
me.
And that Donnie reminds us, the more connections we make with people, the more resources we have to help our students and our staff. Thank you, Donnie.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
so
it.
you,
much.
Principal's Playhouse.
So that was our first guest.
First guest appearance.
What a great
yes.
guest.
Thank you,
Yay.
Donnie.
Okay, so the truth is, John, that there's just so much to learn about in supporting students and staff who have experienced trauma, who are currently going through trauma. And there are, like you just said, there are resources out there. There are experts like Dr. Stephanie Grant, like your expert,
Yep.
Dr. Donnie, that we can turn to help us help students
Absolutely.
and support each other.
And we also need to remember one final tip. Caring for people who are dealing with trauma can be draining, emotionally draining on us. So when we're working with students with trauma, it can be draining for us. So we need to remember to take care of ourselves. We can't fill other people's buckets if we're not full either. So take care of yourselves. Speaking of taking care of people, we are going to do another giveaway.
Wait a minute. I wanted to give away is it too soon to give away the first run signed copy of The Path to Serendipity?
I thought I was getting the first signed copy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
So in the meantime, we have Help for Billy. And this is actually a great book talking about ways that we can help students who are dealing with trauma. So we are going to give this book away to
the seventh person who types in I love #Principals Playhouse. So #Principals Playhouse, no spaces. Just #Principals Playhouse. You can use capital P's if you want.
And we will pop this in the mail.
Yes.
So we hope you enjoyed our episode of Principals Playhouse tonight.
Yeah.
And we hope you'll join us for our next episode. It's going to be a very special live studio audience episode that we're going to film in Traverse City, Michigan at the MEMSPA Winter Conference on a special night, Wednesday, December 8th.
So there's still time to register for the conference in Traverse City. Just go to the MEMSPA webpage, all you principals out there, or aspiring principals out there. Even if you don't live in Michigan, Traverse City is a lovely place to visit. Beautiful. It's a jam-packed conference where you'll learn so much. And you can be in the live studio audience, the first ever live studio audience of the Principals Playhouse. I'm thinking we're going to have like signs where it says like applause or like laughter, don't you think?
Hopefully we won't have to prompt for it, but yes, no. just in case. And speaking of MEMSPA...
Wait, December 8th. It's actually on a Wednesday.
This one's going to be on a Wednesday, so we're going to mix it up a little bit.
Yep, it's still be the same time, 7:30, and we'll let you know. We'll give you reminders.
Speaking of MEMSPA, the MEMSPA chat is starting right about now with our friend Jason Gribble.
Yeah, just started.
So head on over to Twitter and join him. And... we'll sign off.
Okay, so I'm Allison Apsey.
I'm John Wenstrom. And remember, when you need some inspiration when the workday is done,
come to the Principals Playhouse and have some fun.
Thanks, partner.
Yay! And we're happy, right?
We are happy.
We just had another fabulous episode of the... Whoa, you know what? Oh, that's it. Okay. Head over to MEMSPA Chat, #MEMSPA Chat on Twitter.
And we are happy.
All right.
Even though our music's not playing. We are happy.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Dave.
Can I do my finger point dance again?
Thanks, Jim. Thank you, April.
Thanks, everybody.
'Cause I'm happy.